Daniel, go ahead.
You've preached patience a lot the last few years, and you guys are going to be in pretty much every single conversation regarding every star in the league who wants to be traded. And considering how good you guys were last year.
We'll be in the conversation, or people will put us in the conversation? Okay,
yeah,
all right, that makes that clear.
Considering how good you guys were last year and the growth that you guys have had, is it sometimes tough not to get like a little antsy and like just throw all your chips in, or is it more so you guys know who you are and who you want to be?
Couple of things on this. You know, obviously I know this is going to be coming. So, I have thought about this question in a way to kind of put it into terms that isn't dismissive, because there's no script here, right? I don't want to give you the sense that like we practice what we preach. We are open-minded, clearly. But there's a couple reasons why I think that particular topic is maybe not relevant right now. One, I used the example with the paint last year. You can't buy the paint for your house that you haven't bought yet, that you haven't actually bought. You don't know where the house is. You don't know where it's situated. You don't know what style it is. You don't know how much paint you'll need. So, like, we don't really know what we have right now. So to even say, like, it's a very broad star, right? Where? Like, you know, who's to say we don't have a player that could be really good in that spot already? We don't know the answer to that, right? I don't know. So we may not. I mean, the chances are, you know, it's really hard to find those players. We have one of them. If there happens to be one or two or more on the roster, then we're like, you know, we've really gotten fortunate. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, again, I'm not trying to dismiss everyone's excitement, but we're not a 500 team. And, you know, like I said earlier, we have to finish our breakfast before we start acting like we're, you know, on the cusp of something. I think this is, again, part of the headwinds that you face as a young team, right? I wouldn't want to cash in to become average or above average. I don't think that's really what anyone's expecting. Or when people say go all in, I don't think they're saying go all in to have one season that's slightly better than your last season, right? I think when the team's performing in an extremely high level, you then know, where something could help us, and you have a better information. We can be accurate. I think we're big on accuracy. And then the other thing I say, and I think this is really important, is we can't let the fact that we have some additional draft capital make us soft. You don't want to lose your industriousness. You don't want that to be, well, we can cut corners here. It doesn't matter if we do this or we do that, because we have these tools that are just going to solve everything. I don't know how many times people have, quote unquote, gone. I'm not sure exactly the nomenclature of all in or cash your chips in. I don't know exactly what that means. When I think about that, I think of about a gambling scenario, which, again, doesn't jive with like sustainable success. It jives with like gambling, live or die, you know, lose the house. You know what I mean? Go home and explain it to your significant other. So I don't want us to rely on that like it's some type of panacea, because one, I don't know how often it actually has worked that someone has done that. And then two, we might need those tools to have a functional payroll over time if our players turn out to be as good as some people are projecting. Now, I can't project that. I don't know. But those tools are relatively important to some of the more high-performing teams in the league right now that have big payrolls. So I understand, like, it's a bit of a, again, these types of questions, there's a performative, to do that would be almost performative. I don't think you can make a rational case for it now. But perhaps at some point when we have a little more information, the team has demonstrated its capability and played in high-performing games, and we see where our limitations are, potentially. But I don't know that there's a lot of good rational thinking behind that other than impulse and following content creation that is just part of the world we live in.